In this video, we'll show you how we can machine out the features that we see on this file here. So the first thing we need to do would be to rough out the center part. So to do that, I've used a roughing strategy using the advanced machining. So to get to that stage, we choose advanced machining, and we're using triangle mesh, and we're using roughing. The machining surfaces are surfaces that we want to machine, and if we want to leave a finishing allowance on here, we can do for a finishing pass. The heights are controlled either automatically from the entire model, but in this case we need to use user defined, and we can set the start height and the end height for these features, depending on whether we want to machine through to the bore or not. The depth step is set and the step over is set. These are determined by the tool size. I'm using a 1/4 inch end mill here. If we don't specify any stock material, then the roughing will only take place on any cavities that it finds within the features. As far as the entry and exit features are concerned, we can set the roughing to automatic, or we can set it to linear, helical, zigzag, or we can get it to profile. Automatic mode will choose either a linear ramping method, or if there's room for it and it's a better strategy to use, it will put in a helical spiral. To use any of those features, we go to the link tab and we check on the retracts to make sure that we've set up the correct distances we want the tool to retract to between different paths or different passes of the roughing cycle. And if we want to use the ramping features, we switch it on here. Okay, so that's produced a roughing toolpath for that shape. So if we switch that off, and now we'll look, pardon me, we'll look at the finishing strategy that we've used. So what we've done here is we've used triangle mesh again. We've set up a ball nose tool, and the strategy that we're going to use is constant cusp. And what this will do is it will produce a series of cuts based on the curves that it encounters, and it will put in a number of cuts depending on whether the curves or flat features. So constant cusp does exactly that. The heights, again, we can specify the heights where we want the tool to move between, and we need to set up drive curves. So we enable the drive curve feature, and then the drive curves that we choose are ones which we created previously. So we're using this curve here, which is the curve for the feature in the center of the part. The step over we're using here is the maximum that we want it to have, or we can set up a cusp height. And again, we use the link tab to set up the retracts so that the tool is only going to where we want it to go. If we switch that on, just run that, that will recalculate that. Okay, so now we can see the constant cusp finishing on that shape there. So we can make the cusp as fine or as coarse as we need to, depending on the surface finish that we want for that feature there. The last thing that I used was to clear off the top of the part, because as you can see, that feature is a stand up away from Z0. So we'll switch that on, and we used a simple 1 wireframe toolpath for that. So we choose the tool that we want, in this case a 1/4 inch end mill, and the surface path we've used wireframe, and we've used 2-axis roughing. The heights are the height where we want the tool to move between. In this case, because the feature stands proud of Z0, then we have a start height above 0 and an end height of 0, which is the top of the job. And then for the drive curves, we tick the box user defined features. What this allows us to do is when we select the drive curves, which I'll do now, we can set up the curves that we want to use. So in this case, we chose the outside curve, press enter to accept that, and that becomes a pocket. Then we selected new and created another one and selected the curve here, and that became a boss. So we can put offsets on here as well if we want to, and we can put draft angles, but you can add as many or as few of these features as you need, and each one will be a pocket or a boss. Okay, so that's machined that. So if we switch on all of those 3 toolpaths there, and then we take that into the simulator, and this is now loading the simulator and passing the data through to it. So this is the simulator here, so we have the video controls at the top, so we can either speed up or slow down the display and then run the display. And we can change the direction of this finishing path to start at the top and work down, start at the bottom and work up. Okay, so that's that part machined.